Today lesson is Unit 2 from trade to territory. Aurangzeb was the last powerful ruler of the Mughal Empire who establishes control over a large part of India. By the end of the 18th century, the British, which came to India as a small trading company, starting as the new power on the political horizon. The Portuguese, the Dutch and the French also entered India. Vasco da Gama already we saw about last lesson, history lesson 1. So Vasco da Gama, Portuguese explorer, discovered a new sea route to 1498, isn't it? The main motive behind those discoveries was to maximize profit through trade and to establish political supremacy. All the trading companies were interested in silk, cotton and spices that were in great demand. The British set up the first English factory on the banks of river Hooghly in 1651. As trade expanded, the merchants and traders were asked to come and settle near the factory. The company acquired zamindari rights of 3 villages by bribing the Mughal official. Bribing means gift or money. Officials refused to pay the duty on private trade, which resulted in enormous revenue loss of Bengal. The Black Hole Tragedy. There was a small dungeon room in the Fort William in Calcutta where troops of the Nawab of Bengal, troops means soldiers, where troops of the Nawab of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Dowla, held 146 British prisoners of war for one night. Next day morning, when the door was opened, 123 of the prisoners found dead because of suffocation. That is called Black Hole Tragedy. Siraj-ud-Dowla, that is in Battle of Plassey. Alverdi Khan, the Nawab of Bengal, died in 1756 and his grandson Siraj-ud-Dowla ascended the throne of Bengal. The British, taking advantage of new Nawab's weakness and unpopularity, seized power. So Siraj-ud-Dowla decided to teach them who? British, a lesson. Siraj-ud-Dowla decided to teach British a lesson by attacking over their political settlement of Calcutta. Robert Clive. The dual system which was introduced by Robert Clive was abolished by Warren Hastings and Bengal completely came under the direct control of the company administration. The rule of East India Company in India became effective after the conquest of Bengal. The main interest of the company in India was territorial and commercial expansion. The defeat of the English at the hands of Siraj-ud-Dowla triggered the British. The company official led by Robert Clive along with Mir Jafar, the commander-in-chief of Siraj-ud-Dowla and other fractions of the court colluded in this plan. Battle of Buxar. After the defeat of Plassey, Siraj-ud-Dowla was assassinated and Mir Jafar was made the Nawab. Mir Jafar was just a puppet in the hands of the Britishers. In 1764, the Battle of Buxar was fought between Britishers and Mir Qasim when Mir Qasim denied the privilege given by Britishers. Mir Qasim abolished the trade duty for everyone and transferred his capital from Murshidabad to Mongoor. But this was against the interest of British and they declared war. In this battle, Mir Qasim, Siraj-ud-Dowla and Shah Alam, the Mughal king, fought against British and British forces were led by Hector Munro. Carnatic Wars. There are three Carnatic Wars were fought between various Indian rulers, British and French. Britain and France were rival countries in Europe. The rivalry continued in India over trade and territories. First Carnatic War, that is the main cause. The war sparked between France and England held up in India. It broke out between them too eager to extend their relation in India. Dupleix, the French governor of Pondicherry, wanted to drive away the English from India. Dupleix marched towards Madras, where he defeated the English naval fleet and captured Madras. The Nawab ordered Dupleix to return Fort St. George to the British, but the Nawab forces were defeated by the French. Result of the First Carnatic War. The Carnatic War came to an end. The Treaty of Aila-Chapelle. The war was ended by the Treaty of Aila-Chapelle. Under the terms of this treaty, Madras was returned back to the English, and French in turn got their territories in North America. Then the Second Carnatic War. The main causes, the issue of succession in Carnatic and Hyderabad. The main cause of this war was the issue of succession in Carnatic and Hyderabad. Anwaruddin Khan and Chanda Sahib were the two claimants to the throne of Carnatic, whereas Nazir Jang and Muzaffar Jang were claimants to the throne of Hyderabad. The French supported Chanda Sahib and Muzaffar Jang, while the British supported to the other claimants, with the objectives of keeping their interest and influence in the entire Deccan region. Robert Clive, he left a strong army in St. George, and with 200 British soldiers and 300 sepoys, he marched towards Arcot. He seized the Arcot without much efforts. Result of the Second Carnatic War. The English emerged successful in the war. This war also ended with the Treaty of Pondicherry. Under this term, the English proved their superiority on land by appointing Muhammad Ali as the Nawab of Carnatic. The French were still very powerful in Hyderabad. However, the predominant position of the French in the Deccan Peninsula was definitely undermined in this war. Third Carnatic War. That is a main cause in 1756, 7 years war. Started in Europe, resulted in conflict between French and British in India. By this time, Robert Clive established the British power in Bengal by the Battle of Plassey, which provided them with the necessary finance for the Third Carnatic War. British commander Sir Eyre Coote defeated French under Count Lally at Battle of Vandivas in 1760. Pondicherry fell into the hands of British in 1761. So he is called hero of Vandivas. Result of the Third Carnatic War. Chandranagar and Pondicherry returned to French, but the administration fell to British. This war ended with the Treaty of Paris. The 7 years war was concluded by the Treaty of Paris. The French settlement The French settlements, including Pondicherry, were given back to the French, but they were forbidden from fortifying those places. They were not allowed to gather armies. The French dominance in India practically came to an end. Mysore War. The state of Mysore rose prominence in the politics of South India under Hyder Hyder Ali. He and his son Tipu Sultan played a prominent role against the expansion of British Empire in India. Both of them faced the English with undoubted edge. In 1761, he became the de facto ruler of Mysore. He also proved to be the most formidable enemy of the English in India. He gave West Indian military training to his force also. In first Mysore War, Anglo-Mysore War, Hyder Ali versus Nizam, British Marathier. Hyder Ali not fought to Marathier. The Nizam, with the help of British troops under General Joseph Smith, invaded Mysore in 1767. Hyder Ali defeated English and captured Mangalore. In March 1769, he attacked Madras and forced the English to sign a treaty on 4th April 1769. The treaty is Treaty of Madras. That is a Treaty of Chennai also. At the end of the war, the Treaty of Madras was signed between Hyder Ali and British East India Company. Both the parties returned the conquered territories and promised to help each other in case any foreign attack on them. Second Anglo-Mysore War. Hyder Ali dead. After dead, Hyder Ali, Tipu continue war to 1784. Tipu captured Brigadier Matthews, the supreme commander of the British forces, along with his soldiers in 1783. It was a serious loss to Tipu. This war ended by Treaty of Mangalore. On 7th March 1784, the Treaty of Mangalore was signed between the two parties. Both agreed to return the conquered territories and also the prisoners of war. Third Mysore War. Tipu appointed French officers to give military training to his force. Joined French Jacobs Club 1797. Conquered Badusa Award. Badusa Award. Tipu lost. The course of the war is that Tipu fought alone with continued for 2 years. It was fought in 3 phases. The attack of the English under General Meadows failed. Therefore, in December 1790, Cornwallis himself took the command of the army. Cornwallis captured all the hill forts which obstructed his advance towards Srirangapatnam and reached near its outer wall. Tipu felt desperate and opened a negotiation with the English. Cornwallis agreed and the Treaty of Srirangapatnam was concluded in 1792. Under the Treaty of Srirangapatnam, Tipu surrendered half of his kingdom to the Allies. Tipu agreed to pay 3.6 crore of rupees to the English as war indemnity and surrendered 2 of his sons as hostages to the English. The English acquired Malabar, Coorg, Dindigul and Baramahal near in Coimbatore and Salem. Next one. Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. Tipu Sultan did not forget the humiliating Treaty of Srirangapatnam imposed upon him by Cornwallis in 1790. Wellesley declared war against Tipu in 1799. The war was short and decisive. The Madras army, which was led by the Governor General's brother, Arthur Wellesley, forced Tipu to retreat to his capital, Srirangapatnam. On 4th May 1799, Srirangapatnam was captured. Tipu fought bravely and was killed finally. Thus ended the 4th Mysore War, and the whole of the Mysore lay prostrate before the British. Okay, next one. First Anglo-Maratha Wars. The third Peshwa Balaji Bajirao died in 1761 due to shock after his defeat at the Third Battle of Panipat. The son Madhava Rao succeeded him. the English were aware of the growing Maratha power. When Madhava Rao died, there was a tussle for power in the Maratha camp. Result of the first Anglo-Maratha War in 1781, Warren Hastings dispatched British troops. He defeated the Maratha chief Mahadaji Scindia. This war ended by in the Treaty of Salbai. Second Anglo-Maratha War. The Maratha Confederacy consists of 5 major chiefs: the Peshwas Pune, the Gaekwads Baroda, the Holkars Indore, the Scindias at Gwalior, and the Bhonsles at Nagpur. The Holkars of Indore defeated the Peshwas and the Scindias. Bajirao II sought British protection. The Scindias and the Bhonsles did not accept this treaty, and this caused the Second Anglo-Maratha War. Result of the Second Maratha War, the Maratha power was gradually weakened. The English East India Company started becoming the paramount power in India. Third Anglo-Maratha War, one last attempt to rebuild their old prestige, and they wanted to retake all their old possessions from the English. The major reason for this war was due to the British were being protected by the Marathas. Peshwa Bajirao II forces supported by those of the Mudoji II Bhonsle of Nagpur and Malhar Rao Holkar III of Indore rose against the East India Company. Result of the Third Anglo-Maratha War is the Maratha Confederacy was dissolved and the Peshwaship was abolished. The Bajirao II, the last Peshwa of Maratha, was given annual pension of 8 lakh rupees. Next one we will see about the British administrative organization in India. The British Indian administration was run by 4 principal institutions: civil service, army, police and judiciary. Next one we will see about the civil service. The term civil service was used for the first time by the East India Company to distinguish its civilian employees from their military counterparts. The Indian Civil Service Act of 1861, passed by the British Parliament, exclusively reserved certain categories of high executive and judicial posts for the covenanted civil service, which was later designated as the Indian Civil Service. In 1869, 3 Indians, Surendranath Banerjee, Ramesh Chandra Dutt and Bihari Lal Gupta, became successful in the ICS examination. In 1892, the minimum age limit for appearing for the civil service examinations was raised to 21 and the maximum to 23. In 1918, Montagu and Lord Chelmsford recommended that 33% of Indian should be recruited in Indian civil services, and gradually the number should be increased. The Act of 1935 also made provisions for the establishment of a federal and the provincial public service commissions in the various provinces. Although the main aim this measure was to serve the British interests, it became the base of the civil service system in independent India. Next one is army. The army was the second important pillar of the British administration in India. After the revolt of 1857, the important changes were made in the Indian army services in 1858. They increased British troops and reduced Indian troops. Also, only English were appointed in artillery. Then the police system was created by Lord Cornwallis. The main task of the police was to handle crime and to prevent conspiracy against the British rule. Next one is the judicial system. In 1772, the dual government was abolished and the company took over the direct responsibility for the collection of revenue as well as the administration of justice. By the Regulating Act of 1773, a Supreme Court was set up in Calcutta. On the model of the Supreme Court of Calcutta, a Supreme court was established in Madras in 1801 and in Bombay in 1823. Sir Elijah Impey was the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at Fort William in Bengal. Sir Thiruvarur Muthuswamy was the first Indian Chief Justice of the Madras High Court. Subsidiary alliance, Lord Wellesley. Lord Wellesley introduced the system of subsidiary alliance to bring the princely states under the control of the British. An Indian ruler entering into this alliance with the British had to dissolve his own armed forces and accept British forces towards the maintenance army. He should make annual payments or cede some territory permanently to the company. A British resident would stay in his capital. All the non-English European officials should be turned out of his state. The native ruler should deal with the foreign states only through the English company. Her merits and demerits also. Merits are the British company maintained a large army at the expense of the Indian rulers. The British company began to control the foreign policy of the princely states like that. Then defects, the subsidiary alliances made the Indian rulers weak, oppressive and irresponsible, protected by the British arms. They neglected their duty towards their subjects and even exploited them. Doctrine of lapse. Lord Dalhousie was one of the chief architects of the British Empire in India. He adopted a new policy known as Doctrine of Lapse to extend British Empire. If the native rulers adopted children without the prior permission of the company, only the personal properties of the rulers would go to the adopted sons and the kingdoms would go to the British paramount power. This principle was called the Doctrine of Lapse. It was bitterly opposed by the Indians and it was one of the root cause for the Great Revolt of 1857. By applying the Doctrine of Lapse policy, Dalhousie annexed Sadara, Jaipur, Sambalpur, Bahat, Udaipur, Jhansi and Nagpur. Factors for the success of the British: great naval power, development of textile, scientific divisions of labor, economic prosperity and skillful diplomacy of the British, feelings of insecurity among the Indian merchants, the inequality and ignorance of the Indian kings. Okay, conclusion. The Battle of Plassey was the foundation of British dominion in India. The company's administration was not for the interests of people. It was imperialistic, expansionist and exploitative. It brought more Indian territories under British domain through subsidiary alliance and Doctrine of Lapse. This policy led to South Indian Rebellion, Vellore Rebellion and the Great Rebellion. We will see about short recap. Siraj-ud-Dowla ascended the throne of Bengal on 9th February 1757. Treaty of Alinagar was signed. The Carnatic Wars, which spanned from 1746 to 1763, Tipu agreed to pay 3.6 crore of rupees to the English as war indemnity. Wellesley declared war against Tipu in 1799. Cornwallis established a system of circles or thanas. Each was headed by a daroga. Sir Elijah Impey was the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at Fort William in Bengal. Lord Wellesley introduced the system of subsidiary alliance to bring the princely states under the control of the British. Lord Dalhousie was one of the chief architects of the British Empire in India. Thank you, ma. Take care.